Welcome viewers to Center-ECD Enterprise TV.
My name is Kenneth Enoruwa. I'm the principal consultant, Developers One Consulting and Co. As you already know, the TV station, the Center-ECD Enterprise TV, is a platform for helping startups, small businesses of scale. And so today, we'll be looking at 10 fundamental practices for every startup business. 10 fundamental practices every small businesses should buy.
This is important
because we all know that challenges, obstacles, uncertainties that surround a small business in Africa are enormous. And so for you to continue to exist and break even at every point in time, have enough excesses and revenue to sustain your operations, you need to imbibe these 10 practices. At some point in time, successful businesses that you find around Africa, across the globe today, imbibe most of these practices. They are critical action points every business should imbibe. Ladies and gentlemen, as we go into these practices, may I encourage you to get your pen and notes, listen over again, and jot them down. They've helped many businesses of scale. They've helped many businesses overcome turbulent times. And so, it will also be of great advantage to you as an entrepreneur. Number one practice that every small business must imbibe is patience. Give yourself time. There is no small business, no startup that succeeds overnight. Don't be carried away by the successes you see in other businesses. It took time for those ones to excel and break even. Breaking even is not overnight. It takes time. What you have is a new business. And like every new thing, you need time to grow. Imagine a newborn child, a newborn baby. It takes a long time for that child to grow to a point of average reasoning. Researchers advise, they have recommended that for every newborn child, you will require between 5 to 10 years, on the average 8 years, for every newborn child to have average active reasoning. That means a baby born today may not display some sense of average reasoning. However, after some time, an average of 5 to 10 years, that child will begin to contribute to humanity. That child will begin to say some words the parents never ever expected that child to say. Some level of maturity begin to emerge from that child. That is exactly what happens in the business world. Successful businesses that we find around us today in Africa didn't just emerge overnight. The prime movers, the CEOs of those ideas, gave themselves time. You will have to be patient because a new business requires some level of nurturing. I don't want to expect you as a CEO to cry or give up after starting a new idea and you've barely done 1 year. Remember, you need to give yourself some time. It is risky for you to expect success in less than 5 years. If you achieve that, then good luck. Congratulations. If you have achieved success in your business within 5 years, then you are a champion, a superstar actually. But as a startup, you must reassure yourself that this business has been properly planned. The value proposition is intact, and the entire concept is ideal for the environment you find yourself. We have assumed that you have understood the industry, the market, and everything associated with that business. And then you came up with a concept that is sellable. After that, you require time. You require some time. Just as in lending and business, you give yourself some level of moratorium, a period which you expect never to break even. It's a lost period for every startup. You will require above 1 to 5 years to learn and unlearn. You need time. You are just nurturing a new idea. It is a new business. You will not achieve break-even overnight. I continually emphasize that. The Bible says in Luke chapter 14, from verse 28 or thereabout, a popular story that Christians and businessmen and women can learn from. The Bible gave a parable and it asked us a question. Who among you will set out to build a tower, to engage on a project, embark on a project, and will not count the cost required to achieve that purpose? Whether the resources available will be enough or not enough. The Bible asks us a question. Who among you will do such? A builder, before embarking on a project, will establish resources available and establish that all the resources available are adequate to start and finish that project. The same way, every small businesses, drivers of business, CEOs, and entrepreneurs must be told the truth. And it is the truth I'm giving out to you right now. Give yourself time. Count the cost. You are not guaranteed success the first 5 years of your business. Nobody will guarantee you breaking even, profit making. You don't expect that in the first 5 years. Like I said before, if you achieve it, then you are a champion. I mean, some things went in your favor. However, it is important. Literature have proven it. Research have proven it. That in Africa, more than 80% of startups go under the first 1 year. More than 75% of startups in Africa don't at least 5 years. So if you have just done 6 months, why are you crying? If you are a year and 2 months old and you are grumbling, you are not breaking even, stay on, don't give up. If you've done 3 years and you still manage to pay salaries, you are still nurturing that business, you are still managing resources and materials, you are not where you want to be yet, I have a word of encouragement for you. You are on point. As far as the business has not gone insolvent, you've not closed up your shop, you are still on point. I've had calls to discuss with several entrepreneurs in Nigeria, and I found that majority of the entrepreneurs I've worked with, business owners I've worked with, they all want to break even the first year. And so like I always do in various sections I have with them, you don't expect success as one who is starting newly. Give yourself time. But there are 3 W's I always tell CEOs and entrepreneurs that I work for. The first thing, despite you not breaking even early enough, you must watch out for these 3 W's. While you are waiting, patiently waiting for breaking even, you need to watch. Watch. You have a plan set out already. You have a plan set out. You have a cash flow, a forecast that in the first 5 years, I expect my revenue to move this way. I expect my expenditure to move in this direction. And probably you have captured your client targets and your client base, and you've measured, noticing that customer levels will rise in this direction. Maybe at a point, rise, down, downwards, okay. You have done some permutations, and you have a well thought out plan for success of your business. I have said before, the first W is that you have to wait. Be patient. Give yourself time. Number 2, watch. Watch. While you watch, you are looking at variations. Okay, I gave targets such as this. However, at this time, see what I've achieved. I budgeted this. This is the actual performance. While you are watching, you are serving as your internal auditor. Control is important in every business. Monitoring is key. While you watch, you are controlling certain factors that may have hindered you from achieving the budget or helped you achieve beyond the target. A business without control is like a football game where you leave your flanks wide open. No matter the goals you have against your opponents, when your flanks are left open, you are definitely going to concede more, and eventually you will lose that game. So a business without controls, without appropriate watching mechanism, that business will definitely hit the rock sooner or later. And finally, walk the walk. Walk the walk. 3 W's that you must observe while being patient and giving yourself time. Number 1, wait. Waiting is like staying back and watching. While you are watching, you are controlling factors, variables that probably helped or caused damage. That way you continue to walk the walk. So number two, practice. Every small business must imbibe. Like I said before, it is not in any particular order. It's not in any order of importance. So number 2 may be of priority to you, while number 1 may be of priority to another. Number 2, proper bookkeeping. I like this so much. Maybe because I've been into this for a long time. But I've noticed that most small businesses and startups don't give attention to proper bookkeeping. A friend of mine came to me in the office one time, told me he has been in business for 6 months, told me I've had about 12 clients, and he had been managing millions of naira that period. And he told me he had a problem. I said, what is the problem? He said, for this number of months he has been doing his business, he knows he has done job for over 10 to 12 clients. He also affirmed that he had made some tens of millions this period worth of contract. When I'm looking at his bank account and cash in hand, he's unable to give account of what he did with the money. Worse for him is that it looks as if he's just starting all over again. He's unable to account for how much he has used for transportation. He's unable to account for how much he has used on subscription. Even raw materials he applied for every contract he got. He's unable to state exactly how much he spent on those raw materials. So for a while I smiled. And I said, I understand exactly what you're talking about. Funny enough, it's not associated to him alone. I have been there before. For over 15 years, I have worked with small businesses, young men and women, all over Nigeria. So I understand what it means for small businesses to operate without appropriate bookkeeping. Late last year, about around November 2022, I was doing a job for an electronics dealer in Benin City. I was looking at the risk assessment of his business, just conducting a comprehensive risk assessment for his business. Now, before he engaged our services, he called me that he was referred by another client, and he had something troubling him. So I booked an appointment. We began talking. He said, annually, for the past 5 years, it has become constant for him to fund a 30 million naira overdraft with the bank. And that at the beginning of every year, he activates that overdraft. He used that fund to stock up his shop. But at the end of the year, by the time he's done paying off that overdraft, he notices that his stock, electronics left in his shop. When he compares that to what he had in his bank, he notices he has nothing. And that these have happened over and over again for the past 3 or 4, 5 years. So he noticed some things were not going well, but he just couldn't place the problem. So a friend of his we worked with earlier on told him he had similar problem in the past and expressed to him how we support him. And so he engaged us. So the first thing I asked while we were talking, I asked him, if I ask you how you appropriated your 30 million naira, the goods you bought, if I ask you now for last year, 2022, can you provide a list of what you bought, who you bought from, how much you spent? Will you have records for those purchases? He said no, he does not have it. He does not even keep that record. All he does is send via telephone, text message, or a call to the vendors. I want this and this number, I want this product and this number. It comes through the lorry or the truck, they offload, and then that's all. Keep the job, begin to sell. And many businesses make similar mistakes. Be accountable to the business. Be accountable. Keep records of every dime you spend. You don't need expertise knowledge. You don't need a professional knowledge to do this. If you record very well all the inflows and outflows, you are able to account for your business. Don't overrule operations simply because you own the business. That's what most CEOs do. Most CEOs overrule basic accounting principles. They take from the monies, they dip hand into sales, they spend anyhow, they don't care to record anything, they don't consult professionals to help them out. Now, by the time I was done with this client, we discovered that a sum of over 9 million was stolen from his business. And he never realized it. You don't pre-frame, you just take 200,000 today, you sell, you make sale, you sell 20 items in a day, it doesn't show. The owners of the business will not know. And some years ago too, we had a report around Benin City of how a major dealer in electronics lost millions of naira. His sales boy diverted so much cash, and the owners never knew about it. It's happening across sectors. I worked for a public material dealer one night. We also discovered that goods had come from Lagos or Onitsha. When they arrived in Benin, his sales boy had another shop unknown to the man. When goods come, the goods are not entered into the stock of the owner. A lot of them are entered into the makeup shop owned by a sales boy. So when you have proper bookkeeping, it's a form of accountability. You are able to account how much you spent, how much you took. So drawings by owners of business is not really out of place, but they must be properly accounted for. I hear people say things like, entrepreneurship is cool. I love to be self-employed. I want to be an entrepreneur. I like to own my business. I like to be involved, control my time. And then you ask them, why Do you want to be independent? They will tell you the entrepreneur determines everything. It determines when he goes to work. It determines when he closes. He is in control of his time. He's in control of his life. Really? That doesn't work. That doesn't work. You control your time. You determine what you do. When you do it, then you are heading for failure. That's not always true when it comes to transaction monitoring and record keeping. What has to be done must be done. If you own a business and you have that mindset that you can do whatever you like, at some point you realize that you have nothing left. Maintain basic record and then you are safe. Basic books of accounting. Be able to account daily how much you spend and receive. You know, when you have those kind of records, you are able to measure your success and failures within a particular period. You are able to say in the month of January, this is total number of contracts I had, number of sales I had, number of overhead expenditures I incurred. This is the profit I made. This is how I used that profit. You are able to give account. So bookkeeping is critical for the success of any small business. If you are not good at it, learn it. Basics. You can also go for trainings and you will be taught. So that brings me to the end of number 2. Now let's go to number 3. Number 3, fundamental practices. Every entrepreneur, small business, startups should imbibe. They are critical for your success. It has helped us as a consultancy firm. With this knowledge, we have also helped several businesses gain stability. Just practicing these simple things that you do already have turned many startups into major brands. And yours will also take that form in Jesus' name. Then you say amen. Okay, number 3, proper management of capital. Proper management of capital. I'll explain this because as a startup, we assume that you don't know most of these financial terms. Whatever you invested, your initial investment in your business is your capital. So if I own a barber's shop, so whatever money I had in the beginning, maybe I had 200,000 naira, or 1 million naira, or 500,000 naira. So that money becomes my initial capital. So maybe what that would do for me will be rent a shop, get it furnished, basic furniture, maybe air conditioner, maybe the clippers that will need to work, and thereabouts. So my initial capital could be 500,000 naira. Maybe after working a month or 2, I'm able to get more funds and then I buy a generator. That additional fund is still part of my working capital because I'm still trying to establish. So my initial capital could be 500,000. Maybe after a while, I can have additional funds. My full capital, my working capital can become 700,000 because of the additional 200,000. Now, your working capital does for your business what the blood do for human. What I mean is, as you breathe every day, we live as living organisms. For your business to live daily, your working capital must be intact. So every point in time, if I look at the cash available at hand or in bank, maybe it's 200,000 naira. What that tells me is that I have a 400,000 naira somewhere. When I look at my generator, I look at the clipper, I look at the rent I've paid, I say, okay, I have not lost money. Maybe that's a part of my working capital invested in the business. Then the cash I have in my bank or at hand is what that capital of the business has generated. So that money I have in my hand is not to be wasted. because it is still part of the initial capital started with, the 700,000 naira. So at every point in time, you should be able to account for your working capital. Because for that business to continue, for instance, the barber shop, I probably still have to buy some of the things I have sold to generate that money. I have to restock. Maybe I bought diesel for my generator or plant, and now it's going down, so I have made some money. I have to go back and refill. Do you understand? Beautiful. So, most CEOs don't know how to properly manage capital. So I always advise, don't joke with your working capital. I have seen many CEOs who perceive grants as personal funds. They get money, they use it for themselves. They have great ideas. They have great businesses, but they divert this cash for personal consumption. I always tell people, every paycheck should be treated as a paycheck. Don't treat a paycheck as a play check. So what the proceeds from your business is not to be spent for personal consumption. Never be tempted to misuse it. Instead, apply those proceeds back to your business, especially the first 5 years. Don't be quick to divert personal funds into personal life. I don't know if you are following. So what you should do instead, determine the minimum you can cope with. And it's okay, because I'm just starting, I will fund my transportation from my business proceeds. So anything outside that, you live your life separate from the business. When you start eating up your capital, then you are eating up the business. You cannot eat from the same business that you are supposed to be feeding. Many Christians make these mistakes. People who are religious make these mistakes. And then they blame God. They blame their village people. The business you are supposed to be feeding is the same business that you are not eating from. That business will not last. That's why you see your working capital begins to drop. You cannot account for the great monies God has blessed you with. So ladies and gentlemen, we will stop here today. We will continue in subsequent series. Remember, we are talking about fundamental practices every small businesses should imbibe. We have looked at bookkeeping. We have looked at the importance of being patient. And number 3, we said, manage your working capital. Don't hit up your working capital. So, my name is Kenneth Enoruwa, Principal Consultant, Battle Plus Work Consulting. See you next time. Thank you, and have a great time.